Hi, my name is Dr. RKS Mangesh, President for Center for Human Development and Neuro-Linguistic Research. You might have observed my earlier video, which is called as What is NLP? And as I promised, my next video will be on how can we use NLP in our life. The beauty of NLP is that NLP can be used for our own betterment, development, and also the development of others, as well as while we're interacting with others. So let me first tell you, how can we apply NLP when you are interacting with others? Then I will tell you, how can we apply it in our life and the life of others? Although the scope of NLP is very big, in this video I'm just skipping it to the tools that can be used up to practitioner level of NLP. So in master practitioner level, you are going to learn much more than this. So when I talk about the first aspect, I told you, like, how can we use NLP while you are dealing with others? Mostly you might have seen in any interaction or communication, one of the objectives of both the parties who communicate is to place my ideas being accepted or acceptable by the other party. And for that, we have studied a lot of mechanisms of communication. We said there is a sender, it codes the message, it goes to the medium, it is being received, and then it decodes, and the feedback mechanism follows. And similarly in NLP, we have a very wonderful process of communication that really is very, very powerful to help people to get this. So if you understand, in NLP, we follow a particular pattern. If when we want that, our ideas will be substantiated and it will be accepted by others. The first step we do is we build up a rapport. And the NLP way of creating rapport is very powerful. So when you are able to create a rapport with the other person, what you do, you are able to open your communication with the person, because one of the presuppositions of neuro-linguistic programming is resistance in a client is lack of rapport. So that's why if you know how to build up a rapport by using the NLP technique, then the person's resistance will not be there. Once someone's resistance is not be there, or the resistance is lowered, it becomes easier for you to put your ideas into the head of the other person. Then we listen to the person. This is the second step, we follow in the communication pattern. So we listen to the person, or we hear to the person, maybe, and this day we take the information. It can be, we can observe the information in any way, right? So when we hear, listen, or observe the information, we have a pattern of listening to a person, and which is called as linguistic presuppositions. In NLP linguistic presupposition, we have a pattern where we understand when a person is communicating, the person can communicate either one or some combination of 9 linguistic presuppositions. That means when a person communicates, the person will communicate one of the 9 things. And just a combination of that will make you realize what is in the head of the client when the client is communicating with you. You will learn in detail what are the 9 linguistic presuppositions. So once you listen, you calibrate what the person says, then it becomes easier for you to calibrate the model of the world. That means what is there in the mind of the person. And once you calibrate the model of the world, if you find the person has got some resistance towards whatever you say or towards his or her life, what do you do? Then you loosen this model of the world of the person. Because when the model of the world of the person is loosened, then it becomes easier for you. So loosening the model of the world of an individual is another mechanism we learn in NLP. Once the model of the world of the resistance of the person is loosened, then we use linguistics to create an image of the solution in the head of the person and add adequate motivation to that. So that we do by using a flexible linguistic pattern, and which is generally, that's a combination of Milton linguistics or Milton language and meta language. So Milton model, meta model combination, and there are certain other linguistic patterns are there. So in combination, we create that flexible. We are using this flexible linguistics to create imprint and add motivation to what the person wants about a proposition, and that then we make so strong that the person volunteers or the person loves to take it. That is how what we do. We actually help ourselves in communicating with others. So when this interaction pattern of others works, that helps us to know that yes, NLP is so powerful. Then the second aspect, how is it helpful for me or some other individuals? Research says that some of the major challenges for individuals for which they do not grow in life is their behavior pattern. Sometimes clients that do not want to display a behavior, but they cannot resist themselves displaying that behavior. So if they can manage that behavior, then life will be beautiful. That is why in NLP we have a technique which is called a swish pattern. When we run this swish mechanism, what we have the person or to ourselves, that this unwanted behavior pattern of ours can be actually managed and we can be able to display the desired behavior. That is why this resistance or this limitation of an individual can be just dealt with. Then, we have a mechanism which is called anchoring. What happens, another limitation of individuals is that they want to remain in a state. Suppose someone says that I want to be happy now, and the person is not able to become happy because the person may not be knowing a mechanism. In NLP we have a mechanism called as anchoring. When you set an anchoring and you use that anchor, any person, including me or someone else, can get into that state any moment of time. So that's why the second limitation can also be dealt with. Then suppose for someone in his or her life, there is a very significant event which is going to happen. And for that significant event to be successful, the person needs a combination of resources. Suppose the person says, I need 3 resources. One may be called as, say, being confident. Second may be empowering. Third may be victorious. So we can combine this and help a person to get it, to be in access of it whenever the person needs. So in a mechanism called as stacking anchor or called as circle of excellence. That's why the third limitation, that the biggest events in life, the person lacks that state to win. So that can be managed with either stacking anchor, the mechanism, or which is called as circle of excellence. Then we have another mechanism, we call it change personal history. Sometimes you might have seen some people, they have some incidents, events in life which is so painful that we say every dramatic event has got the power to create a traumatic imprint. That's why sometimes people, they are so much hooked to this traumatic imprint that they cannot proceed ahead. So in NLP we have mechanisms which is a part of timeline, and this otherwise known as change personal history, where this traumatic imprint can be dissolved or can be changed, and a person can actually deal with that. So that is another utility of NLP. Then we have a mechanism which is called fast phobia cure. I have seen people having phobia for years together. In NLP we have a mechanism called as fast phobia cure. People who have experienced, like our clients, they have seen phobia just to be dissolved within 10 to 15 minutes time. And then if it is being done, when it is being done future pacing properly, the people, they get just the benefit of that. That is why that is another powerful mechanism generally we follow, which is called as the first phobia cure. Then we follow something which is, I spoke about it a bit, which is called as timeline. So what happens in timeline or time-based processes, either a very negative emotion of past, or anxiety and stress of the future, or the present state, this can be actually dealt with. So there, this timeline, it works. And most of the time, when we look into therapeutic cases, what happens? People are victims, when we talk about mental health or any of the condition, of thoughts which are opposing. And when the opposing thoughts or unwanted dilemmas, this come across in the life, those create in future or in future states which are not accepted or acceptable to individual. That's why when people have got dilemmas that must be solved. So in NLP, we have a technique called as parts integration, by where whatever multiple parts being created in life, which is not supportive to the growth of the individual, this can be integrated and the person can take the benefit of it. And one more interesting point, we call it as perceptual position. If we have a conflict with someone and it is not resolved, then in NLP we have a technique by which we can resolve this conflict within ourselves so that we can proceed towards our future life. sometimes we dislike certain things which actually we should be liking to have a life which is fulfilled. Maybe it is certain foods we dislike, which if we like, we will be healthy. Or maybe our workplace, which we dislike, and if we keep liking, that will be helpful. Therefore, in NLP, we have a mechanism called as dislikes to like, or otherwise likes to dislike. And before I sign up, before I close this video, I would like to tell you another very, very interesting point of NLP. That point is known as strategy. So anything that we do in NLP, the success depends on what is the mental strategy that we play. And in NLP, we have a technique to redesign the strategy so that anything that we are desiring to get in life, it will only be giving us success and success and success. So this is what you can learn, and you will be learning, and you will be using, getting the benefit when you learn NLP at the practitioner level. So therefore, NLP is really, really very, very useful. Thank you very much.